You should do that before you take a shower in the morning. Yeah.
Yes! I love it. So, James, welcome. Thank you for being here. How has Comic-Con Wales been treating you so far?
Oh, they treat me too well. Like, I go home and I hang out with electricians and roofers and construction guys, and they don't care about my job at all.
Reception.
Or if they mention it, it's like, saw you on television, James. What was that lipstick you were wearing? I want it for my girlfriend. You know, like they keep me down to earth. But I do one of these, and I start feeling like, hey, I'm pretty cool. And I come back home, and they're like, how you doing, James? I'm good.
Hello.
Like, oh, you've been to a convention, haven't you? Oh, dear God. Yeah.
You got that Comic-Con voice. Hello. You've been feeling all the love. Well, tell me about the fan reception, because obviously, Wales, such a great community of people, and this is the first time Monopoly Events has ever been in Wales. So you were signing and doing autographs and photos yesterday. How has the fan reception been here?
Absolutely fabulous. I will say, fans the world over, we're smart, we're funny, we don't take ourselves too seriously, and we're kind. And I have noticed that in Wales, but also Germany, everywhere I go. Like, that's why I love conventions. I really feel like all the cool people of whatever town I'm in come to the convention. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
They sure do. And Wales is a rowdy bunch. You guys have been great so far. And yesterday they were asking amazing questions. So I have a few questions for James myself, but we did mention that there's a microphone right over there on the left
guys,
and on the right.
You guys, you can ask me anything you want.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Like, if you want to try to embarrass me, bring it. I am absolutely shameless. But I don't promise to answer anything that you ask. Like, I might be like, no, I'm not going to touch that one, thank you. But you could ask. It's impossible to offend me. So, yeah.
Uh-oh.
I dare you.
He's daring you. That's a very fearless response. I love that. Round of applause for that. No one's ever said that at Comic-Con. That's amazing. But yes, get those questions ready. There's a microphone there on the left and here on the right. But another question from me, James. So we ask a lot of our celebrity guests how they've been enjoying the Comic-Con, and if there's anyone here at the convention in terms of the celebrity guests that you either knew and it was a nice reunion, or was there anyone that you wanted to meet?
DB Woodside, baby.
Me too.
Yeah.
24 fan here, so I was fangirling.
I worked with him on Buffy.
Yep.
He played Principal Wood. Yes, Principal Wood. And he was just so cool. Have you met DB? He's like the coolest dude in the world. He's just like unflappable and kind and I don't know, something tells you don't mess with that guy. You don't know what it is, you know? But yeah, I remember when he came on Buffy, I was like, God, he's really cool. I wonder if he likes me. He probably doesn't like me, no.
He's very nice. He'll be here
Really,
later, by the
really
way, guys.
awesome.
Lucifer panel later. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we were just jabbing back in the green room talking about our kids. Yeah.
Well, we do have a lot of celebrities here at Comic-Con Wales. We really did pull out all the stops, a lot of different genres, Teen Wolf, Cobra Kai. We've met a lot of great people. But is there anyone that you've met in your career or your travels that you were totally starstruck for? That you fanboyed over?
Yes, okay, this is a good story. So I was working on a Marvel TV show, Runaways. And so when you work for Marvel, you get invited to go see the movies. And so Black Panther came out, and they invited me to the premiere, and they sent the black big car to get me, and I bought a suit for it. I was so excited. I'm going to get interviewed on the red carpet and everything. And they let me out of the car, and they take me around to a different door, and I'm seeing everyone talk to the press, and big stars are talking to the press, and I'm getting my tie ready, and they shunt me over away from that, and I'm like, excuse me, I think I should go to the red carpet. And they're like, no, you sir, you're over here. And they took me to a different theater. There were two theaters. There was one for the people on my level, and there's yeah. And I was
A-list theater and a B-list theater.
This, man. I was and I sat, because I came early, and I'm all alone in the theater, and there's nobody else, and I'm just this sucks, man. And then Patton Oswalt.
Yes.
He came up. He was the second dude in the theater. And he just came up and he was like, I'm such a big fan of yours. I can't believe it. I can't believe we're sitting here. And we just had a wonderful conversation, and I'm such a fan of him. And I was like, okay, if Patton is here with me, then I'm good.
Yeah, you're in the right theater. Patton Oswalt, guys. Did you ever watch King of Queens? He was great on King of Queens.
He's just one of those people that's good in everything that he does. Like,
And
never.
Fun fact: the voice of Ratatouille.
Is he really?
He really is. Yes. That's a Comic-Con exclusive here. Yeah.
No, I heard it in my head. Yeah.
You heard it in your head. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
Yes. A couple more questions from me, but again, guys, don't be shy. Microphones are there and there.
Come on,
Please ask
who
a
is
question.
brave?
It's Sunday Funday. We gotta get
Come
rowdy in here.
on.
There's one.
You get a special prize. Oh, no, she's kicking it off.
Oh, she's kicking it off.
God.
Yeah. Okay, and then one more question for me. I just had a question about Buffy. Obviously, we're here to talk about so many of your amazing roles, but Buffy, obviously, and the character of Spike. Before you got into the show, was the vampire fantasy genre something that intrigued you? You know, Interview with the Vampire, Dracula. There's been so many iterations of vampires. Was that something that intrigued you before the show?
Nope.
No.
I was a total fanboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to conventions. Like, I was going to conventions when there was only two things you could be a fan of. This is like before Star Wars and all that. It was Star Trek and Space 1999, which nobody even remembers. I was a Star Trek fan. We won. But we hated each other. We would stare daggers at, your phaser sucks. No, it doesn't. Your laser is stupid. Yeah, that was horrible. So I'm a fanboy. I love Star Wars. I love Star Trek. I love everything. And so, like I like vampires too, but not probably more than Star Trek, because Star Trek rocks.
Yes, it does indeed. Round of applause for that. As soon as you said Star Trek, we heard a little rumble in the crowd.
Yeah.
Yes.
I want to know what the question is, though.
Yeah.
What do you got?
Let's go to microphone here on the left. Hi.
Okay. Probably a really rubbish question, but what was it like to wear the fangs?
Ooh.
Good question, actually. Okay. So, like, they were very sharp, so that they would look sharp in the close-up, and they made them specially for me, so they were easier to talk in. Like, I always felt sorry for, like, the guest star vampires, because they would just get this, like, generic one that was one size fits all.
Did
and
they
it's like,
share?
you're trying to be like a cool vampire, but you've got these mammoth teeth, and you're like, hello. And they would always like re-record the dialogue so that, didn't suck. But like on the day when you're filming it, you're just you're just humiliated because you can't even speak. So like I was always thankful that mine were made for me and I could kind of talk okay. But the other thing is that I used to tell Steve Tartaglia was the stunt Spike, and he would do things that I couldn't do, but I also told him, Steve, you don't have to do stunts with the contacts and the fangs, because the contacts make you have tunnel vision. And when you're selling a hit, you have to clock when the fist is coming with your peripheral vision so that you can time it correctly. And when you're tunnel vision, that's a lot harder. And then the teeth cut your mouth so bad. Like I would bleed out of my mouth all the time. Because I stupidly did a lot of my own stunts, like more than I had to, because I came from theater. You don't get a stunt man in theater. And so I came down to Los Angeles and they're like, oh, it's the action scene, we'll have the stunt man do it. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, give me that thing, So I was too proud. Like at one point, Steve Tartaglia, he comes up to me and he's like, James, we on the stunt crew, we're really impressed that you're doing so many of your own stunts. Really, it's really amazing. But if I get on camera for one shot in an episode, my pay doubles, if you know what I mean.
So stop.
Yeah, so like from that point on, we would look at the script and we would plan when I would get like my ankle twisted or when I had to take a nap or something, like anything to get Steve on the camera. Yeah, I felt so horrible.
You're very giving.
Thank you.
Great question.
Yeah, my
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Great question.
Yes, we've got a member of the Hellfire Club on the right with the question. Hi there.
Love the Hellfire Club. Where are you?
Hi,
Where are
thank you. My question is not to do with Buffy itself, but when you're on Supernatural.
Yeah.
My question is, what was it like working on the set with the cast and crew of Supernatural when you were in that one episode? I can't really remember what the season was, but I know.
It was.
Yeah.
one of the happiest sets I've ever been on. Like Jared and Jensen are immune to fame. Like fame is not good for you. It's bad for the soul. It'll tempt you to think that you're different than other people, or God help you better than other people, and that's not a recipe for happiness at all. But it's like the longer you're exposed to fame, the worse it's like radiation. You know, if you're around it more and more, like I feel sorry for people who were like famous for like 50 years. It gets hard to be normal. But Jared and Jensen are just like immune to it. It just doesn't affect them at all. So consequently, it was like when the leads are really cool and down to earth, and like you don't have to try to make them happy. They're already happy. They're just normal guys. The whole set just calms down, and everyone's having a good day because you know that there's not going to be any drama at all. And they pranked me so bad.
They are known to do that on set. I've seen.
Yeah, they said they said if they like you, they're going to prank you. Get ready.
Yeah.
So I only had one scene with them, and we were in my character's office. Dawn Stark? Yeah, it's not Tony. Remember that. So we're in my office, and we're finishing up the scene, and we're doing my close-up. So like in television, the director's in the other room watching a monitor, and all he can see is whatever the shot is. So we're doing my close-up, and the director's looking at my big old face, and I'm doing my lines, and I feel this bobbling between my legs. And I glanced down, and I don't remember if it was Jared or Jensen, but one of them had their shoe off, and they were balancing on one foot. Like the camera can see the back of their head, you know, but they're very artfully just on one foot bobbling. And I look in his eyes, and he's like, "What are you going to do, buddy? What are you going to do?" And I finish the take, and the director yells from the other room, "Cut, print, move on," which means that's the take that's going to be in the show. And they were just like, "Dude." So yeah, if you watch that, if you look at my close-up, just know what's happening in real life.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I had a great time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Thank you. Great question. Great story. We've got a question here on the left.
Hi. So I have a question with doing so many different varieties of TV shows and movies over the years. What is the difference? Like, what's the frame of mind that you have to be in to do like the bad guy versus the good guy?
It's so much easier to be bad. Oh,
you do it very well.
God.
So it works.
Like, the art of being a decent human being, for me, is not telling people what I'm thinking all the time. Do you know what I mean? Like, everybody, you guys are nice, you know what I mean? Like, we edit ourselves so that we are not a jerk. But when you're a villain, you just get to barf out all of that. You know, all of this stuff that I don't say. Like, you know, like you meet a jerk, and then you take the high road, and then you get home, you're like, "Oh, I should have said that." You know? But no, you shouldn't have said that. That's why you're a mature person, is you don't say that. But it would have felt great. But when you're a villain, you just get to say that. Also, when you play a hero, you're always like huffing and puffing and trying to save people, you know? And you're having to run all the time to catch up with them so you can save them. And they're always like complaining that you're not saving them correctly. And it's just and you're like dredging up some like childhood trauma so that the thing has an arc and weight and all that. Ugh. When you play a villain, none of that. You just lurk. You just wait in the shadows for the hero to come huffing and puffing and sweating by, and you jump out of the shadows and you pop him in the head and you go home.
That or have the insane amount of sarcasm.
Yes.
Like, out for a walk.
Yeah. Yeah, villains, please.
Yes, less exhausting, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Got a question here on the right. Hiya.
Hey, bro.
Hi, Spike. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Never a big fan of Buffy, but I really did enjoy Angel.
Yeah.
Rightly so. So just wondering if you knew how that was supposed to end, because it kind of cut off on a really big cliffhanger.
Yeah, the thing is, with Buffy, we knew that it was going to end the whole season. Like, they tried to talk Sarah into doing more than 7 seasons. They threw a ton of money at her, but she was like, I'm marrying Freddie Prinze Jr., baby. I'm out. You know? Like, I just got the brass ring. Forget it. And so we knew that it was definitely over, so they could plan ahead and save money for it and really get the writing, you know, get everything leading to the end. With Angel, we got canceled, and we only had like 3 or 4 episodes before the end of it. Before, you know, like, we got canceled right at the end of the season. Yeah. And the thing is, they had the guy who did ER, a guy named Wells. He was producing a Dracula pilot, and they were very excited about that, so they canceled us. Turned out the Dracula pilot was horrible, so they wish that they didn't. But so it was kind of abrupt on Angel. You know, they didn't have time to build a story toward that ending. Yeah. But within that, I thought they did a really good job with the writing, because I'm like, Angel starts the story as a real villain, and if you're going to have his arc end, he's got to be a real hero at the end of it. Yeah. And I think the most heroic thing you can do is try to fight to save people or to help them when you know you're going to die and you know you're going to lose, but you have to try anyway. Mm-hmm. And so that's what we did. So we all thought, we're definitely dead. Like, we're going to die. And that's what the producers and the directors were like, yes, you're going to, you know you're going to die. Of course you're going to die. Yeah. And so we all thought, you know, we're out. And then I read a comic book where we lived. I was like, kick ass, you know.
Yeah, awesome. Cheers, Matt.
Thanks, man.
Thank you. Question here on the left.
So my question is, if Spike were to fight Brainiac, who would win?
Ooh.
I'm reminded of a conversation with my son when he was like 6, and he asked me who would win between Superman and me. And I was like, well, you know, he's a cartoon, so I'd rip him up. He's paper. And he's like, no, like in real life, it's Superman and you. And I was like, well, Superman's Kryptonian, man. He can like crack a planet, so he'd probably win. And my son was just like, and I was like, just kidding, I'd win. He's like, yeah, you know. So I'm going to do it now. Brainiac would probably win because Brainiac can stand up to Superman. And Superman can crack planets. So Spike is tough, but he doesn't crack planets. So no, Spike would demoralize him with superior dialogue first. And Brainiac would just like crumple, his self-esteem would just like crumple, and he wouldn't fight at all. Spike, yeah.
Thank you.
Great answer. We've got a question here on the right.
Hi, James. I was just wondering, did you know at the end of Buffy when Spike dies that you were moving on to Angel?
Yes.
How did that then impact that feeling of, like, as you said in the previous question, like the hero story going down swinging? Did that impact how you like felt about the character, knowing that it was...
Yeah, you know, it didn't, because like Spike doesn't know that he's about to die. Like, he just took that gem because Angel wanted it, you know? So he doesn't go into it going like, I'm going to sacrifice myself for humanity. He's like, what? Wait a minute. Down, you know? So no, it didn't. And they were really angry because at that time, Buffy and Angel were on different networks in the States. And Warner Brothers announced that I would be on Angel before they had a chance to kill me off on Buffy. And they were livid. They're like, you're going to ruin it. We're trying to break everyone's heart. And, you know, you're letting the cat out of the bag. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
My pleasure, man.
Thank you. Got a question here on the left.
Hi, sorry. About music, I was lucky enough to see Ghost of the Robot in Bristol a long time ago. So good. Are you doing any music now? Are you still doing?
Yeah, in fact, Ghost was just over at my house last week cutting demos for our next album, for the 5th album. Yeah. And it was really good. We just love it. It's a problem, like when we first got together, 3 of us were in high school, And I remember telling the parents of these guys, like, the band will never come before school, don't worry about it. Like, we're going to fit around that schedule. And that was great. And so the parents were comfortable letting you know, these 17-year-old guys come over to Bristol, you know. And then by the time they got out of the three of them get out of high school, two of them go on to college. And by the time they got out of college, we got another guy in the band who was in high school. And he's now in college. So, like, getting together has always been kind of a nightmare, frankly, scheduling-wise. And then you have my schedule, which I never know what it is, and sometimes like, sorry guys, I got to quit the tour. I'm going off to Vancouver to shoot a TV show. So, but the thing is, like, when we get together, it just gels like that. And we're always just like, we haven't played in like 6 months, but it's just like, it's just bubbling again. What the hell, you know? So we get away with murder, that band. Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. There's a question here on the right.
Hi, just want to say I love you in Buffy and Angel, obviously, and I love you in Torchwood, and I loved you in Hawaii Five-0, and I know you do a lot of different accents. Do you do any other ones?
I guess.
Can we have an example?
Okay, yeah. No. I was just like, well, I had one, but it's not socially appropriate. But I was like, oh, screw it. Like, okay, so I was doing a book on tape called the Dresden Files, which are they're pretty popular. And there was this character of what was it? He was Japanese, and I came in and I had prepared the wrong accent. I came in talking like this. Okay, that's pretty good, okay? And they're like, James, that's a Chinese accent, that's not Japanese. And I hadn't prepared Japanese. I was like, oh no. And all I could remember was Mojo Jojo from Powerpuff Girls.
Yes.
Because he is a Japanese accent, you know? He is very good. And it was perfect for this character, so I just use him. Just rip off Mojo Jojo.
And later in the book series, that character got his own like short story of just him talking the whole time. He was like a temple dog. What was his mouse? That was Mouse's voice.
So I did this for a whole week.
I paused because like I'm an actor, so I'm always I'm always working on accents because they come in handy as an actor. But like I'll be doing the dishes and I'll be doing something like this. Okay, well, just working on my accent, and my kids will come up and be like, "Dad, you can't say that. You're a white man. That's racist." I'm like, "It's not racist. I get paid for this. Like, it doesn't matter. Just don't take those jobs. You're going to ruin your career." I'm like, oh. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
We love a Powerpuff Girls reference here at Comic-Con. We have a question here on the left.
That wasn't racist.
Dude, you could have owned me. You didn't. You're such a kind man. I would have melted.
Wait for my question.
Thanks a lot for the crappy accent, bro. Okay, that's officially my favorite moment out of the entire weekend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Oh my! Did anyone get that on film?
Oh my.
Please. Well, I'm sorry. What's your question, sir?
Okay, sorry to follow it with this. How does your memories of working on Angel and Buffy being affected by your own personal experience of working with Joss Whedon and the subsequent allegations?
You know, I didn't really work with Joss very much. He was not around. I was really mad at him for this because whenever he directed, I was never in the episode very much. I would have a few lines. By the time I became a regular on Buffy, he was off doing Angel, and by the time I got over on Angel, he was off doing Firefly. And so, like, I remember him coming to the Buffy set and saying, you know, I know I'm never around, but I just want you guys to know I'm still involved in the show. I'm breaking story. I'm editing. It's definitely hands-on. I'm just not on set. But I'll say, like, it's heartbreaking.
I think for a lot of
what
us
I'm
too,
hearing.
yeah.
What's that?
It's the same for a lot of us too. It's heartbreaking for us. Yeah.
Yeah. And what I think that Joss is not unlike a lot of artists who are fallible and flawed. And I think that Buffy reflects the man that he is trying to be. I think that I'm trying to be probably a better man than I am currently. And I think that a lot of artists, like their art reflects their best self, and not necessarily the self that they give the world all the time. Like my favorite sculptor is Rodin, who did The Thinker, Gates of Hell. He's a genius, but they say he was a horrible human being. And so I'm always like, you know, I wouldn't want to have dinner with him, but I do love to see his work. You know?
So can you separate the art from the artist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If I didn't do that, I would have to throw away Rodin. And I don't want to, you know. I don't think that being a fallible human being means that what you create. Like, okay, my father is a Methodist minister, and he said, when you die and you get up to heaven and you're facing St. Peter at the pearly gates, and Peter opens the book to see if you get into heaven or not, your sins are not in that book. It's only the good things that you did. So God knows that you are going to be doing bad things. You're human, and that's kind of assumed. But it's really, if you get into heaven, it's like, how much good did you do? And so when I think of an artist that falls down and does things that I really don't agree with, or like passionately don't agree with, I try to remember that. And I do not support what he seems to have done. I did not experience that. I found him, just for me, he was really kind. And it doesn't mean that I don't believe what other people are saying. It's just that I didn't see that. And I just have to remember that he was human, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Does that answer your question? Yeah.
Thank you for your answer.
Yeah, my pleasure.
We're getting deep here on the Oprah chairs at Comic-Con. Appreciate that. Great answer. We have a question over here on the right.
Hi. While filming Buffy, out of all of the seasons, what was your least favorite episode filming?
I guess the last one, because it was over. Like I'm a Buffy fan. like I didn't make Buffy, so I'm not bragging. I was in it, you know. I was lucky to be in it, but that was a damn good show, man. Like that. Like I was 34 when I started working on Buffy, and I'd already done like 100 plays, and television, and I'd worked before, and so like I was old enough to know that it doesn't get better than this. Like I kept telling the younger actors, like, guys, this is as good as it gets. Like, don't complain about the writing. You're not going to ever get better writing than this. So like I was kind of in heaven between the word action and cut. Like it didn't matter if it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, or if they were lighting me on fire or throwing rocks at me. It didn't matter. I was always just in heaven, and every time they said cut, it was kind of hard to come back down to earth, frankly. And so, like, I didn't really have a bad experience filming anything. You know, some of it was really challenging, some of it was really scary. You know what? I'll amend that. That the scene in the bathroom was really hard. I think it was called Seeing Red was the episode. Is that the name of it? I don't watch that kind of stuff Like I get so angry, if I see it on television, I have to turn the television off or I'll kick the TV in. Like if I know a movie has that stuff in it, I won't go see the movie. If I get an audition and that stuff's in it, I don't audition for that. I have a certain reaction to that kind of material that it just drives me insane. So when that script came down, I was contracted to do whatever they tell me to do, to wear or not wear whatever they tell me to do and do whatever they say to whoever they say to do it. And I came on the set and I told the writer, I just go, dude, you guys write this stuff, but we have to live it. Like you don't understand what it takes out of a person sometimes to do this, especially today. And I was so freaked out. Like I came through the door, like I entered to start the scene, and I have a whiplash from doing too many stunts, basically. And if I get tense, it'll pop, and I go like, oh, and my tongue like pulls back, and without even moving, I just come through the door. I start to speak to Buffy, and you hear this like, and I collapsed on the ground, and I was just like, oh. And Sarah's coming over, James, are you okay? And I'm like, I'm fine, you know. It was not a good day. It was so bad that it sent me into therapy. But it was really good therapy, and that's kind of why I'm so happy today. So it all worked out. But like, in defense of that scene, and this is why I say, you know, I can't say it's a bad experience. One of the reasons that Buffy is such a great show is that the writers were being asked to come up with their worst day. Like the day that they don't talk about, the day that is their dark secret, and then slap fangs on top of that secret and tell the whole world in metaphor. And this idea came from one of the female writers who in college got broken up with by her boyfriend. And she went to his apartment and threw herself on him, thinking if they made love one more time, everything would be fixed. And the man had to physically kind of throw her out of the apartment, and it was a crushing experience for her. And they decided that they could flip the sexes because Buffy was a superhero and she could throw Spike through a wall. They decided that they could flip that, and it would be okay. And my thought was, everybody who watches Buffy is Buffy. Like that's the vicarious experience of storytelling. Like when I watch Buffy, I'm Buffy. Do you know what I mean? Like everyone's Buffy when you watch Buffy. That's how it works. And so I'm like, I am then doing this to everybody in the audience, and they're not superheroes. You can't flip it like that. But they did. But it's in keeping with why the show is so good. I mean, it was coming from a really vulnerable, brave place from the writing staff. And they had to find something that Spike did that would crush him so that he would want to get a soul. He had to make a mistake that was so profound that he had to change everything about himself. And that's what they decided to do. But it was one of the hardest days it was the hardest day of my professional life, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Thank you for sharing. Great question. We have a question here.
Man, this is really funny. You know, I'm really funny, right? I'm just kidding.
No, we've had a bit of light and dark.
Super serious. Well, Buffy's both, you know. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We appreciate your candor. We've got a question here on the left. Hi.
Hi. I hope mine's a bit lighter than that, so I'll bring it back up again. On Buffy, you worked with Charisma, and then on Supernatural, you worked with Charisma. What was it like working with both of those with different characters?
I didn't realize that Charisma is a really nice person until Supernatural. Like, she's such a good actor. She fooled me. I thought she was like Cordelia. It has to be true. And I'm a punk rocker, and I avoided her like the plague on Buffy. I was like, that cheerleader, I ain't talking to her. I'll get in trouble, you know? And plus, whenever we shot together, she was always running away from me, so our chairs were always on the opposite sides of the stage most of the time. And then I just remember shooting Supernatural, and we were back waiting for the shot to get set up and talking about our kids, and I just went, I'm so sorry. I've been judging you for so many years. You're actually really sweet. And she's like, yeah, why didn't you ever talk to me? I didn't even know. Yeah, so it took that long for me to actually realize. Yeah, but that's what happens when you're a good actor. Like, people assume that's you. Yeah.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Got a question here on the right.
Hi, bit of a funny question. Kiss, marry, kill, Xander, Riley, or Angel?
Wait, if I could kill one?
Kiss, marry, kill. So you kiss one, marry the other, and you kill one, kiss the other, and marry the other.
Kiss, marry, kill, Xander, Riley, and who?
Angel.
Deep.
Kiss, marry, kill. Marry Riley,
Yeah, okay.
because he's a good guy.
Fair.
He was supposed to be boring. That was the point. Like, I asked Joss, I was like, did you make Riley boring just to set up Spike? So the audience would want Buffy to be with Spike. And he was like, I don't know, James. Maybe I did. Poor Mark Balukas, man. Like a thankless role. But I'd marry him. And I'd kiss Angel, because he's got a soft mouth. But I would kill Xander. Oh, my God.
What?
Yeah. Well, Spike hates Xander.
Yeah, that's
He
fair.
just rubs him the wrong way, man. I don't think those. Yeah, if Xander had ever been alone with Spike and Spike wasn't chained to he would have definitely killed him. I don't know why. Oh my God.
That was a fun question. Thank you so much. We have time for one more here on the left.
Hi, James. Apologies in advance for the extra nerdy question, but
Good.
Are you a fan of Dungeons and Dragons at all? And if so, would you be open to doing celebrity D&D with the Critical Role folk?
I would love to. Yeah, I played D&D in junior high and high school.
Oh,
you know?
brilliant. What
And
was
funny enough, all the people that played that with me, they're all doctors and lawyers. Like, only smart people play that game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I haven't played it since then. Because, like, unfair dungeon master killed my mage, man. Like, I built that guy up for years, and he's such a dick.
But you're over it.
God. No!
You totally sound over it.
I never played again. Because this is like, what's the use? Some jerk's going to come along and kill me anyway.
Get in touch with Matthew Mercer. He'll give you a better experience.
Yeah, but I'd love to play again. That'd be great.
Awesome, thanks. And can I just say, my fiance and I have missed you off and on just about at various cons over the last 6 years, and we finally managed to meet you for a photo yesterday, and it was a pleasure, so thank you.
Thank you, man. I'm so sorry if I canceled some. It's because I was working for Marvel, and it took me a while to realize that Marvel doesn't share me with anybody. Like, other television shows, they'll let you out if you're not working around that weekend, but Marvel's like, you're working for Marvel, calm down. Fine.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
Part of the universe. We do have time for one final question. Let's go to the lovely lady here on the right.
Hiya. So my question is, obviously Spike was British. Is there any British mannerisms that you picked up, like sayings, any kind of words you keep saying in a British accent through the years?
No, but I discovered, like, I was up in Canada with my girlfriend, right? And we just decided to be British for the day. And we just walked around the mall, pretending to be British. We got invited to 3 parties.
Wow.
Yeah. They love you people. Everyone loves the British, yeah. So, no, just beyond the accent, probably not, you know. Yeah, I wish I knew. Bite me was the one thing I picked up, you know. I came over here and everyone was saying it, and I came back thinking, well, they should put that in the show, it's perfect. But I knew that Joss was not going to take my advice on anything, you know. He used to say, oh, that's a great idea, James, and then there's me. So I just started to tell him, you know, bite me every once in a while, and then he thought of it.
Lovely. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Spot on, for sure. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to let him get back to the autograph area
Thank you,
you
guys.
can meet him. James, thank you
Have a
so
good
much.
One. If you're in costume, come back to the table. I'll put you on social media.
Yes, thank
Love
you
y'all.
so much.